Learn, ignite, and excel in science. Nurture your concepts with Phymen.
Dear students, আমি আজি velocity of image in a plane mirror পঢ়িম. Suppose this is our plane mirror, okay, and there is a object here. ইয়াতে এটা object আছে suppose তোমাৰ, suppose এইটো O, ঠিক আছে, আৰু এই অবজেক্টটোৰ ইমেজ হ'ব ইয়াতে exactly same distance দূৰত. অবজেক্ট ডিসটেন্সটো আমি যদি ধৰো u বুলি কেনে, ঠিক আছে, তাহলে ইমেজ ডিসটেন্সটো আমাৰ হ'ব v সাপোজ, ঠিক আছে। এতিয়া আমি জানো যে প্লেন মিৰৰত অবজেক্ট ডিসটেন্স ইকুৱেল টু ইমেজ ডিসটেন্স, কি হৈ গ'ল আমাৰ অবজেক্ট ডিসটেন্স ইকুৱেল টু ইমেজ ডিসটেন্স। আৰু এই ডিসটেন্স কেইটা আমি ক'ৰ পৰা লৈছো, এই ডিসটেন্স কেইটা লৈছো আমি মিৰৰখনৰ পৰা, ঠিক আছে। এতিয়া চোৱা, মই দুটা কেছ পঢ়িম। প্ৰথম কেছটো হ'ল কেছ 1, object moving normal to the mirror, okay, মানে কি কৈছো, অবজেক্টটো এনেকে মুভ কৰি মিৰৰখনৰ পাৰপেন্ডিকুলাৰলি মুভ কৰি আছে, and image will also move like this. So আমি কি কৰিব পাৰো, আমি লিখো u equal to v. So আমি যদি one time differentiate কৰো, u is the position of, this is the position of object with respect to the mirror, position of object with respect to mirror, and this is the position of image with respect to mirror, right? Okay, v. So আমি যদি one time differentiate কৰো, আমি পাম 8, but position you see with respect to this position is along this direction, আৰু this position আমি with respect to mirror হে চাই আছো, ঠিক আছে। এটা আমি ইয়াত লিখিম velocity of the image, কারণ one time যদি আমি position of differentiate কৰি দিম আমি velocity পাম, তো velocity of image with respect to mirror is equal to minus of velocity of object with respect to mirror, আমি এইটো পাম, হয়নে নহয়? We'll get this. এতিয়া আমি ইয়াৰ পৰা যদি লিখো velocity of object with respect to mirror is equal to minus of velocity of image with respect to mirror, is it? এতিয়া আমি যদি এইটো চাও with respect to ground, তাহলে আমি কি পাম, velocity of object with respect to ground minus velocity of the mirror with respect to ground is equal to minus তো থাকিলে velocity of the image with respect to ground minus velocity of mirror with respect to ground, is it? Okay, এইটো যদি আমি চাও তোমাৰ velocity of object with respect to ground, আমাক লাগে velocity of image with respect to ground, so আমি এইটো চালে লিখিব পাৰো, আমি আৰু এটা লিখি লও velocity of object with respect to ground minus velocity of mirror with respect to ground is equal to minus of velocity of image with respect to ground plus velocity of mirror with respect to ground. আমি ইয়াত এইফালে লৈ আহিম, will get, আমি ইয়াত যেতিয়া এইফালে লৈ আহিম তেতিয়া আমি কি পাম, you see velocity of the image with respect to ground আমি পাই যাম velocity of the object with respect to ground minus 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground, right? It minus হৈ গ'ল, minus minus এইটো plus আছিলে, then minus minus plus, তাক মই এইফালে লৈ আহিলো, এইটো minus থাকিব, ইয়াকে এইফালে লৈ আহিলো, তো কি হৈ গ'ল এইটো, so velocity of the image with respect to ground equal to 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground minus velocity of object with respect to ground. So this we need to remember this formula. What? The velocity of the image with respect to ground is equal to twice of, it will have velocity of mirror with respect to ground, ये हो जाएगा, velocity of the image with object with respect to ground. Okay, so এইটো আমি মনত ৰাখিব লাগিব। আমি ক'ৰ পৰা পালো এইটো পালো আমি তোমাৰ যেতিয়া অবজেক্ট ডিসটেন্স ইকুৱেল টু কি হৈ যাব, ইমেজ ডিসটেন্স হৈ যাব। আৰু পজিশন, সো এইটো আমি লিখিব পাৰো পজিশন ভেক্টৰ অফ object with respect to mirror, আৰু এইটো position vector of, this one is position vector of image with respect to mirror. I mean, you can write minus also here. So এইটো ফর্মুলা আমি মনত রাখি, ঠিক আছে? এই পার্টিকুলার ফর্মুলাটা আমি মনত রাখিলাম। মনত রাখি আমি কুয়েশন সলভ কৰিব পাৰিম, ঠিক আছে? তো নেক্সট আমি কুয়েশনত যাও। চলো, সাপোজ তোমাদের এখন কি আছে, মিরর আছে। এখন এখন মিরর আমার মন দিবা, কুয়েশনটো প্রথমতে ভ্যালুখিনি চাই লোৱা। আৰু এইটো এটা অবজেক্ট আছে আমাৰ, suppose this is our object here, okay, and this object is moving with a velocity of 2 meter per second, obviously with respect to ground. So velocity of the object with respect to ground is given as 2 meter per second, ঠিক আছে? And velocity of the image we need to find out, velocity of image with respect to ground we need to find out. Okay, now this implies and suppose the velocity of the mirror is 1 meter per second along this direction. Then using that formula, velocity of the image with respect to ground is will be equal to 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground minus velocity of the object with respect to ground. Okay. So if we put this, we will get 2 into velocity of the object mirror with respect to ground is your 2, right? Not 2, 1. So 1 minus I cap, right? And this is your 2. So this will be equal to 0. Okay. 2 into 1. Then velocity of the object with respect to ground is again 2 along this direction. So this will be 0. Okay. So next, let's move to another one. Let's move to another one. That is, suppose this is our plane mirror. এখন মোৰ প্লেন মিৰৰ দিয়া আছে ইয়াতে, ঠিক আছে? আৰু এইখনত এটা অবজেক্ট হোৱা আছে, যোনটো অবজেক্টৰ velocity দিছে 5 meter per second. Okay, velocity of the object with respect to ground is 5 meter, and mirror to ইফালে মুভ কৰি আছে, mirror is moving with a velocity of 2 meter per second along this direction. Okay, so now find the velocity of the image with respect to ground. Okay, so এইটো কৰিলে আমি আকৌ ফৰ্মুলা ইউজ কৰিম velocity of image with respect to ground, যেটো ফৰ্মুলা আমি অলপ আগতে পঢ়িছো, twice of velocity of mirror with respect to ground minus velocity of object with respect to ground, আৰু আমি ইয়াক ভেক্টৰিয়েলি পুট কৰিব লাগিব। velocity of the image with respect to ground আমাক উলিয়াব লাগে 2 into velocity of the mirror with respect to ground is given as this much. Okay, it is minus of 2 2 I cap, গতিকে minus 2, এফালে মই নেগেটিভ লৈছো, এফালে পজিটিভ লম। velocity of object is 5, right? So it is minus 4 minus 5, so it will be minus 9 meter per second, right? Minus 9 meter per second, centimeter per second you can write. Okay, minus 9 meter per second. So this is the two examples that we have seen. Okay, so based on these formulas, these previous formulas, okay, example now, suppose এখন মোৰ প্লেন মিরর, okay, এখন মোৰ প্লেন মিরর, ইয়াতে এটা অবজেক্ট আছে, it's very simple. this object, velocity of the object with respect to ground, that is given as 4 meter per second. Okay, and this mirror is moving along this direction 10 meter per second. That is the velocity of the mirror with respect to ground. So we need to find out the velocity of the object with respect image with respect to ground. Okay, so formula using formula, velocity of the image with respect to ground is 2 times the velocity of the mirror with respect to ground minus velocity of object with respect to ground. So 2 times of velocity of mirror with respect to the ground is given as 10 minus 10 I cap, because in this direction I am taking it positive and এইফালে মই কি লৈছো negative লৈছো 2 into 10 minus velocity of object with respect to the ground is given as 4. So আমি কি লিখিম 20 minus 4, আমি answerটো পাম 16 meter per second. So this is very simple. Okay, so আমি এইটো তোমাৰ কি কৰিব জানিব লাগিব, এপ্লাই কৰিব জানিব লাগিব। তুমি সিমিলাৰলি আৰু এটা এক্সাম্পল লৈ ল'ব পাৰা। ইউ কেন টেক another example on this. Suppose this is your plane mirror. Okay, and there is a object here. There is an object here. So velocity of the object with respect to ground, suppose it is 1 meter per second, and this mirror is also moving along this direction with a 2 meter per second velocity. Now what will be the velocity of the image with respect to ground? এতিয়া আমি ইয়াতো যদি এইটো ইউজ কৰো, velocity of image with respect to ground is 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground minus velocity of object with respect to ground. Okay, so 2 times of velocity of mirror with respect to ground is 2 minus it is 1, right? So 4 minus 1, so velocity of image with respect to the ground will be 3 meter per second. Okay, so these are certain important simple simple numericals based on this particular formula. Next, we will move to the second case of the velocity of the object in plane mirror, case 2. Okay, what case 2 is? When object moves parallel to the when object moves parallel to the mirror. Okay, mirror parallelly যেতিয়া যাব আৰু তেতিয়া আমি লিখিম ইয়াতে এটা important point. The component of velocity parallel to the mirror do not sense. Okay, আমি কি লিখিম? যদি এখন মোৰ প্লেন মিৰৰ হয়, এটা এক্সাম্পল হিচাপে যদি চাওঁ আমি, এখন যদি মোৰ প্লেন মিৰৰ, ইয়াতে মোৰ এটা অবজেক্ট আছে and it is moving along this direction with some velocity, suppose 1 meter per second. Then if velocity of object with respect to ground is 1 meter per second, then velocity of the image with respect to ground will also be 1 meter per second. And it is independent of the mirror velocity. If mirror velocity is, যদি mirror velocity to কিবা থাকে 2 meter per second হোক বা কিবা হোক parallel to this, and if both velocities are parallel, then independent of the mirror velocity. Mirror velocity, it is independent of mirror velocity. মিৰৰখন গৈ থাকিলেও এই যদি 1 মিটাৰ পাৰ ছেকেণ্ড হয়, ইমেজৰো কিমান হ'ব 1 মিটাৰ পাৰ ছেকেণ্ড হ'ব। যদি 2 মিটাৰ পাৰ ছেকেণ্ড হয়, তেতিয়াও 2 মিটাৰ পাৰ ছেকেণ্ড হ'ব। মানে component of velocity parallel to the mirror do not change. It is always objector যিমান হ'ব, ইমেজৰো সিমানেই হ'ব। Velocity of the image with respect to ground, this is also 1 meter per second along the same direction. Okay, so next one is next case. Case number 3. So here when object moves by making some angle to the axis or to the perpendicular of the mirror. Okay, or normal to the mirror. Suppose মোৰ এখন mirror আছে এনেকুৱা, এখন মোৰ plane mirror suppose, ঠিক আছে, এখন মোৰ plane mirror, আৰু এই plane mirror খনত মই চোৱা কি দিছো, এটা object দিছো যোনটোৱে move কৰি আছে এইটো directionত with a velocity of 5 meter per second and making some angle of 37 degree with the normal. Okay, with the normal. So তেতিয়া আমি কি কৰি ল'ম, এটা কম্পোনেন্ট এইফালে উলিয়াই ল'ম আৰু এটা কম্পোনেন্ট এইফালে উলিয়াই ল'ম. The velocity component perpendicular to the mirror is given as 5 of cos 37 degree and velocity component parallel to the mirror is given as 5 sin 37 degree. ঠিক আছে, the 5 cos 37 degree, cos 37 degree is your 4 by 5, so it is 5 into 4 by 5. So this will give you 4 meter per second. Okay, 4 meter per second. Now 5 sin 37, sin 37 3 by 5, so it is your 3 meter per second. Okay. So for the component of velocity perpendicular to the mirror, we will use the formula, this one, velocity of the image with respect to ground is equal to 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground minus velocity of object with respect to ground. So A2 component of velocity of the image with respect to ground, which is perpendicular component to আমি কৰিছো, তো সেইটো কাৰণে কি হ'ব 2 into এইটো সব perpendicular component কাৰণে কৰি perpendicular component, so perpendicular component 2 into velocity of the mirror with respect to ground. Now here mirror velocity take it be 2 meter per second. Okay, this perpendicular component तो कितना हो गया 2 हो जाएगा, 2 into 2 minus velocity of the object with respect to ground, तार perpendicular component it is 4, right, it is 4, so it will be equal to 0 meter per second. Perpendicular component is 0 meter per second, but for velocity of the object parallel to the mirror, okay, we have velocity of the image, so this is the image velocity. Velocity of the image with respect to ground is equal to velocity of the object with respect to ground, which is the parallel component, and this will be equal to 3 meter per second. Okay, so finally the velocity of the object can be written as velocity component perpendicular I cap plus velocity component parallel j cap. Okay, so this one is perpendicular component 0 I cap plus velocity component parallel is your 3 meter per second j cap. Okay, so this will be your velocity for this particular question. Okay, so let me take another question. Let me take another question based on this. Let me take another question based on this. Suppose এখন মোৰ plane mirror. Suppose this is my plane mirror. And ইয়াৰ এটা object আছে, এই object টো 10 meter per second move কৰিছে, 10 meter per second, making an angle of 53 degree with this. So আমি ইয়াতো কি কৰিম, velocity component perpendicular উলিয়াই লম, সেইটো হ'ব 10 cos 53 degree, আৰু velocity component parallel মই উলিয়াই লম কিমান 10 sin 53 degree. ঠিক আছে, sin 53 degree. এতিয়া চোৱা, তোমাক যদি এটো উলিয়াব দিয়া হয় তেলে 10 cos 53 কিমান হ'ব, cos 53 is 3 by 5. Okay, 5 to the 10 is equal to 6 meter per second, আৰু এটো হ'ব 10 into sin 53 is 4 by 5, so 5 to it is 8 meter per second. So velocity of the image with respect to ground যেটো parallel component হ'ব সেইটো হৈ যাব আমাৰ 8 meter per second, right, কারণ parallel component to চেঞ্জ নহয়, কিন্তু velocity of the image with respect to ground যেটো perpendicular component that will be equal to 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground তার perpendicular component minus velocity of the object with respect to ground or perpendicular component. ঠিক আছে, তো mirror or velocity mirror velocity take it to be 2 meter per second in the left direction বাওঁফালে হ'ব এইটো কৰিব লাগিলে আমি কি কৰিম 2 into velocity of the mirror is -2 minus object tor a velocity হ'ল গ'ল 6 meter per second এইটো পাইছিলো আমি 6 put it here 6 meter per second so it is -4 minus 6 it will be -10 meter per second okay -10 meter per second now the object velocity will be v is equal to velocity component perpendicular I cap plus velocity component parallel j cap. So আমার কি হবো velocity component parallel perpendicular is your -10 I cap plus this is your 8 j cap meter per second. Is it 8 meter per second? গতিকে ইমেজটো কোনফালে মুখ কৰিব চোৱা ইমেজৰ y কম্পোনেন্ট থাকিব এইফালে 8 মিটাৰ পাৰ সেকেন্ড x কম্পোনেন্ট থাকিব নেগেটিভ i ফালে so image will be this will be your 10 meter per second so overall net velocity will be along this direction for the image okay this is the velocity of the image with respect to ground so this is all about the velocity of the object and image relation in the plane mirror how we do this so these three types of problems are there and another types of problem can be asked that is uh, let me give you the another question based on this that is suppose I have a mirror here ইয়াতে আমার mirror আছে suppose এই mirror tool object আছে ইয়াতে object is moving with 10 root 2 meter per second making an angle of 45 degree with this axis and this also the mirror is also moving with 10 meter per second making an angle of 37 degree now find the velocity of the image with respect to ground so এইটো কাৰণে আমি কি কৰিব লাগিব velocity of the object or perpendicular component is your 10 root 2 cos 45 degree or velocity of the object parallel component 10 root 2 sin 45 degree this will be your 10 meter per second because cos 45 degree is your 1 by root 2 sin 45 also 1 by root 2 so it is 10 meter per second 10 meter per second okay now for this mirror component let me also write the mirror component velocity of the mirror perpendicular along the normal means matlab to so 10 of cos 37 degree this is 10 into 4 by 5 this 8 meter per second okay and velocity of the mirror parallel component okay this will be your 10 sin 37 sin 37 or value equal 10 into 3 by 5 10 into 3 by 5 so it is 6 meter per second so AG2 component আহিছে আমার parallel component this do not have any role do not have any role so আমি কব পাৰো velocity of the image or parallel component it is your 10 meter per second but velocity of the image perpendicular component কারণে মই কি কৰিম 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground minus velocity of object with respect to ground so 2 times of velocity of the mirror with respect to ground is what this is your mirror with respect to ground or perpendicular component so perpendicular component is 10 so let me take it 10 minus velocity of the object with respect to ground velocity of the object with respect to ground the mirror velocity is your 8 perpendicular component of the mirror velocity is 8 2 into 8 minus 10 so it is 16 minus 10 is equal to 6 meter per second okay so overall the velocity of the image is given by velocity of the image perpendicular component plus velocity of the image parallel component perpendicular component is this one 6 I cap plus this one is parallel component it is 10 j cap okay so overall velocity of the image will be V will be equal to 6 square plus 10 square, that is 36, so it is root over 136 meter per second. Okay, so this is all about the velocity of the image in plane mirror. So these are the kind of problems that may be asked in JEE and NEET and all other engineering and medical entrance examination. So this is very important. So I hope all of you have understood. If you have any query, then please do comment in the comment section and keep watching. কিবা যদি অসুবিধা থাকে তোমালোকে সুধিবা আৰু যদি মোৰ আগৰ ভিডিঅ' বিলাক চোৱা নাই, I will give the link of all the previous videos in my description box. Please follow the channel. Thank you.